end. It comes out to Tom James. Good shot! Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Tom James! Oh, that was special!
Good evening and welcome to Orient Live. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined this evening by Andrew Butler and Orient legend Joe Widdowson. They're both here for us tonight as we're covering our league game against Bristol Rovers, and the O's are going on the hunt for their first win since the 14th of October. Well, that's in the league at least anyway, and it's going to be another tough one out on the West Coast, and not an easy place to go, Joe. We were talking before we came on air that it's just not an easy place to go. It's a cold night, and we've got some memories of Orient playing there on a Tuesday night in recent years as well, and it's never easy.
No, it's tough. Andrew was reminding me about how poor my playing record was against Bristol Rovers. So, no, I do remember it as being a really hard place to go. Funnily enough, especially on a midweek night, it seemed even tougher. You know, their fans get behind them well. It's quite a big pitch. And they've always had decent teams over the years, you know, so I think it will be another really tough challenge for us tonight, yeah.
And we have been on a hunt for that 3 points in the league for a little while now. There's been some good performances and a lot of draws in there, but that 3 points would be really welcome tonight, wouldn't it?
Yeah, certainly. And you mentioned the fact that it's the first away game in 6 as well. It feels like we've just kind of been playing at home for the best part of a month now. So probably a slightly different proposition this evening, a different challenge, certainly playing against a team like Bristol Rovers, like we said, a tricky place to go midweek, but also it feels like we've kind of got comfortable playing at home despite not getting those 3 points. Saturday's performance was good, I thought. Considering how deflating that Tuesday night loss against Lincoln was last Tuesday, to bounce back in the manner we did against I would say a very, very good Wigan side was positive. However, like you mentioned, didn't quite get the win, and now our form is looking a little bit ropey, but 3 points would be magnificent.
It certainly would. And the good news, of course, is that tonight's stream is available worldwide. So if you're watching along live on YouTube, just head over to the website on the screen now and you can pick up a match pass to watch along with us here on Orient Live. But before we go any further, we caught up with the Orient coach Paul Terry and got his thoughts ahead of this evening's fixture.
We won't often single out individuals, but a great goal by Shaq Ford. He's had to be patient in recent weeks, got his start, and he rewarded us with, it was a brilliant goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, great goal, and he's deserved it, Shaq. He trains well every week. He scores goals in training, and it was like the gaffer just felt it was the right time to unleash him, you know, and I think he repaid us for not just a great finish, but a great performance. You know, I think his all-round game was very good for someone so young. He understands the game well, he's willing to learn and wants to get better, and I think we'll just see him improving now week on week.
And looking at Bristol Rovers, I think they're still caretaker manager stage at the moment, but they've had an upturn of form of late. What are we expecting from them? Yeah,
no, listen, Mangs has done well since he took over from Joey. You know, he's got a little bit of response from the players, and they've gone and got a few results. You know, they're a good team. I seem to say it a lot, but a solid League One team with some really good players in it. You know, that can be a threat to us. But again, it's about how we dictate and impose ourselves on the game, you know. So same sort of intent as Saturday, willingness to run forward, willingness to play forward, and be prepared to be brave, not just with our passing, but with individuals stepping in and being brave to go and mark people.
Well, as we said, it was a good performance on Saturday, and the point was all we could muster, and hopefully it will be all 3 this evening. But let's take a look and see what Richie Wellens has opted for as we go on the hunt for 3 points. In goal for Leyton Orient is number 1, Sol Bryn. We've got our back 3 of what we believe will be Tom James, Dan Happy and Ed Turns, and then in the wing-back positions we have Rob Hunt and Theo Archibald. Our 2 midfielder, Giselle Mizuni, who's wearing the armband, who's alongside Jordan Brown. And then the 3 in attack is Ruel Satiriou, Shaq Ford and Aaron Drinan. And then on the bench for the O's is Sam Howes, Jaden Sweeney, Dan Ajayi, Joe Pigott, Brandon Cooper, Darren Prattley and Max Sanders. So that's how the O's were lining up. And if you're eagle-eyed, you can see the FA Youth Cup game going on just outside and behind that team news there. And I think the good news is when we went live, I think they're 1-0 up. I believe that's still the case, but do keep an eye on the Orient social medias to keep abreast of that game as well. So a couple of changes for the O's. Some interesting ones as well.
Yeah, I think the main one being Brandon Cooper coming out of the team for this one. So Tom James will probably slot into the back three with Rob Hunt coming in. And then Drynan getting the nod ahead of Joe Pigott, I think is also kind of equally as interesting. I think Joe wasn't bad at the weekend, but we've had this same conversation, very similar conversations for a while now about making an impact in that forward line. And Ruel Satiru has done his job so far this season. Shaq Ford did his job and more, I think, on Saturday, which was great to see. Joe Pigott, perhaps maybe not. So that's the call that Richie's made this evening.
It's been back-to-back Tuesday games. Yes, we had an international break just before that, but they've been coming thick and fast. And you look at Brandon Cooper dropping to the bench. Do you think that's maybe a case of Richie looking at this game from a tactical point of view, just really kind of freshen things up and making sure everyone's firing on all cylinders?
Yeah, perhaps. I think it's something that Richie's like to do, hasn't he, really, throughout the course of the season so far. Just sort of like tinker here and there with the line-up. And we often see it, especially when in this 5 at the back or 3 at the back with wing-back system is, a wing-back might change, one of the centre-backs might change. So, Ed Turns come in and out a couple of times. Rob Hunt in and out a couple of times, Tom James as well. So something Richie likes to do. I think perhaps it might just be a little rest for Brandon Cooper who's coming. I think he's been excellent since he's come in on loan. But then I think Tom James has done really well as well. Ed Turns and so and then I think when Rob Hunt's had an opportunity, he's done well. So yeah, a couple of little tweaks there. But I just think it's something that he's a kind of habit that he's got to kind of almost keep everyone on their toes, and like Andrew said there, you know that when you get an opportunity to play in this team, you have to perform to keep your shirt for the next game.
Could it be a tactical choice from Richie maybe? Tom James, as opposed to Brandon Cooper, he probably gets on the ball a little bit more, and we know what he's capable of playing football and passing and attacking. Do you think that's maybe an indication of how Richie's approaching this game tonight?
Perhaps. I'm not entirely sure. Really, I think Brandon Cooper's been actually very good on the ball as well. We know what Tom James is about. His reputation precedes him. I think a lot of the game, when we come on to talk about Bristol Rovers, what we'll see about them, their right-hand side, Anthony Evans has had a flying start to the season. So really, it's more, I think, about that left-hand side. Can Ed Turns, can Theo Archibald do their job this evening? I think on Saturday, what we saw when we gave away the penalty after, 50 seconds, it was that ball in between the centre-back and the left wing-back. So just in behind Theo, probably done nothing wrong, and it was more that element of surprise, considering how early on in the game it was, that led to conceding a penalty, which fortunately from our point of view didn't go in. So I think the game will be probably largely played on that side of the pitch, but in terms of the back three, I think I agree with Joe completely in terms of Richie's just making this call. It's a very similar lineup to what we played against Northampton away on that Tuesday night, and players might just need a rest as well at this point.
You brought up his name, Theo Archibald. He was the man of the match on Saturday. He just so tenacious, so energetic, and he really, even playing from left wing back, he feels like, especially with Jordan Graham out, he feels like the key of really driving that ball forward and being dangerous in attack.
Yeah, I think like you said, especially with Jordan Graham absent for injury now, he's a real key man for this team. Theo, he's probably the best ball carrier. Maybe along with Idris, to be fair, in central midfield, I think. But Theo really, his energy, his kind of his exuberance. He's up and down. He's always. I'm a big fan of his because I think like being out wide as a winger is one of the hardest positions to play in terms of being consistent and affecting the game week in, week out. And I think that he's very, very consistent in terms of his level of performance. Each week, he's a very reliable performer. And he's an important part of this team, especially in terms of getting balls into the box and providing that attacking thrust than whatever side he plays on. And
then obviously looking into the heart of the midfield, it's two young men. I was nearly called them boys, but two young men in Idris El-Mazouni and Jordan Brown, but they don't look like they play like young players. They're so energetic, they're so imposing. They've looked really impressive together, haven't they?
Yeah, you would forget their age really, and then you realise that how young they are is kind of remarkable that they've got that pairing. They look like they've got that understanding. It's interesting because when we've had games where El-Mazouni's played alongside Pratley, especially, we're thinking about last season when we needed to hold on to games a bit more. That pairing works, but I think with someone like Jordan Brown, the way his range of passing, how forward thinking he is, the way that he tries to get the ball in between the lines as well, trying to find the fact that we're playing essentially a front three. I know it's more like one behind a front two, but Jordan Brown is a type of player who's not scared about trying to make those passes. Okay, they sometimes don't come off, but they're never. You never feel like they're complete Hollywood balls. They're deliberate, and he keeps the game ticking over very, very nicely.
He certainly does. And while we're coming onto the attacking line, then Joe, Andrew's already referenced, Aaron Drinan coming in and looking to stake a claim really for a starting position, because it's uncertain which three attackers Richie will go for on any given game, and it is these three tonight that are getting the call. And Aaron Drinan's the one that hasn't scored as many goals as Ruel or Shaq, but it's his chance and his time to try and show what he can do.
Yeah, I feel like with Richie, it is a case of it's kind of like horses for courses. There's a reason behind his selection, especially attacking players, and I think especially away from home this season, we've seen Aaron Drinan play a few times. He gives you those legs and that energy and running power, and he will chase lost balls, will turn bad balls into decent balls, and especially if we're looking to sort of play a little bit longer or perhaps down the sides of Bristol Rovers, then he's the man that's gonna be running those channels. Do you know what I mean? And getting on the end of those balls. So I think that will be his role tonight. We playing on the shoulder of the last defender and stretching them. And he'll be that attacking outlet for us.
He will, hopefully, and he came on and he had a spell on Saturday, and he looked sharp, he looked strong, and more so than the attacking, he was dropping deep, winning the ball, and he was linking up play really nicely as well, and that's something that he can add, which Joe Pigott does very well too.
Yeah, and I think the issue that a lot of people have always had is the goals, but actually I think that kind of belies the fact that what he does for the team is very hard working, and I know everyone wants a striker that scores goals. Everyone wants forward players that can score goals, and we do have a couple there. Ruel Satiri who scored goals, and Shaq Ford's getting on the score sheet as well. If you can have a striker who can also, or a forward player at least, who can do some of that work that the other players perhaps don't fancy doing, and that's what he provides. And so, whilst the figures are always going to be quite good, eventually that will probably catch up with you in terms of you do need to score some goals from time to time. I think what he provides for the team is very useful.
It certainly is, and all three of them on the pitch tonight will be aware that Dan Ajayi is sat on the bench. He had a 10-minute spell on Saturday. He's coming back to fitness. He looked sharp on Saturday, and I think there's a lot of excitement around the fans about what he can do. We know how many goals he scored last season in League Two, and we were excited when he joined the club. We've had to wait a little while, but he's going to be pushing Joe Pigott, Ruel Satiri, Aaron Drinan, and Shaq Ford. So it's a hot contest.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see him. I think we've got to ease him in gently and allow him to build up his fitness and get up to speed fully. But he's going to be an exciting player. I think you got to remember he's missed the whole pre-season and he's recovering from a really bad injury. So he's on the way back, but we're going to have to be cautious. But I think I think if you look at this team this season compared to last year, you're probably, I think that Paul Smith and what he brought to the team in terms of like that pace, that raw pace and that dynamism. That's what we're kind of hoping to see from Dan Ajayi when he kind of really reaches full fitness. He's got that sort of pace that can hurt opposition teams, and obviously carries a big goal threat as well. So he's an exciting one to look forward to, and without Jordan Graham now as well, hopefully we can it'll be like a new signing, mate, really.
Yeah, hopefully he can fill that gap. I think it was 2 weeks ago when we played against Oxford United and we were 2-0 down at half time, and I was sat in my seat and talking to my mate next to me and just saying, this feels like the first game this season where we felt like just nothing, our style of play is not going to do anything,
need a
and we just
spark.
need a spark. And because we lost Jordan Graham, very unfortunately, but it was the first game I felt, Paul Smith would do something in this game, and I forgot that we kind of actually do have a player at the club who can provide hopefully those types of sparks, and to have him back in is good and hopefully very timely, because like we said, the form hasn't quite been there of late, and hopefully that will he'll get up to speed very quickly.
Well, the battle of the strikers is an exciting one, and hopefully they'll all chip in with some goals this evening and make that battle even more exciting. And we're going to be hearing from Saturday's goal scorer very shortly, but first we've got a couple of reminders. Firstly, just again, that tonight is available to stream worldwide, so if you're a UK fan, you can head over to the website on the screen now and pick up a streaming pass to watch along with us. And then this coming Sunday, the O's are in FA Cup action away to Chesterfield, and due to FA Cup regulations, you are unable to get a streaming pass for that one, but you can pick up an audio pass, and fans internationally in America, ESPN Plus are showing the game, and channels in South America are also showing it. So if you live there, nice, you can watch along, and if you live anywhere else in the world, keep an eye out for where you can watch it. But then finally, you may have missed our Black Friday sale, but fear not. If you're watching along on the stream tonight, we've got an exclusive offer just for you, so don't tell anyone. There's 20% off all replica kits until midnight. That's an online exclusive, and that's tonight until 11:59. So you're going to receive 20% off each shirt that you buy, and you're going to need to be quick and head over to the website and pick that up now. But enough of that, because it's time to hear from Saturday's goal scorer, Shaq Ford.
Shaq, back in the team on Saturday, and a great goal to go with it. Just talk us through the day to start with. How do you find it?
Nah, to be fair, I felt like it was a good day all round, to be fair. Apart from not getting the 3 points, I feel like team played well. Obviously, it was good to get a goal as well and play most of the game. So, it was a good day all round. Just unfortunately, we didn't get the 3 points in the end.
You've had to be a little bit patient in the last few weeks. What did the manager say to you when he said, right, you're back in, you're starting?
To be fair, he said to me, just keep what you're doing, you've been working hard in training, just be ready for all the time, just be ready. Now you got the opportunity, just prove yourself, and then just go out and score goals.
And even before your goal came, you looked confident out there from the first whistle. Did you feel like that?
To be fair, I usually always feel confident, to be fair, no matter when I come on, if I'm starting or not, I'm always usually confident, but definitely starting again, it gave me a lot of confidence going into the game, yeah.
And talk us through the goal.
Yeah, goal, to be fair, it was a good goal. And then I seen Solly pick it up, and then when he's picked it up, I've pulled away to try and create space with the defender. And obviously when I pulled away, I've seen him come with me, so I thought to contain my touch inside and then hit it, and then knew it was going in.
And through the celebrations, a nice picture of you and Solly, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was a nice picture, it was just something that just came to my mind at that time, and I was just, it was a good picture that came out, didn't it?
Is that on your social media yet?
It was on my story, but not yet fully yet.
And where does the goal rank? You're obviously still quite a young player, so where does that goal rank in terms of the goals you've scored in your professional career?
It's definitely up there. I'd probably say definitely 1 or 2, yeah. Definitely top 1 or 2, definitely for sure.
Your last goal before that as well was quite a dramatic one, a bit closer in, but against Northampton in the last second to get an equaliser. How have you found the last few weeks or so?
It's been good. It's been good. Obviously, it's been a bit frustrating not playing as much as I would like, but it's been good. It's all part of learning experience coming anyways. But I've enjoyed it still. Love training with the boys. So it's always good to play with them. So any minutes I get, I'm just grateful for, to be fair.
And how much do you feel like you are learning here?
I feel like I'm learning a lot, especially in a short amount of time as well. I feel like I've grown up a lot as a player and as a person. So it's been a good experience so far here.
Just lastly, we obviously had the Wigan game Saturday. It's Bristol Rovers to come on Tuesday night. How much are you hoping to be involved again?
And I'm hoping to be involved again, obviously, after scoring a goal. I feel even more confidence. But I'm just looking forward to the game. Always look forward to the games. That's what it's all about.
Top stuff there from Shaq, and hopefully he can add a couple more to his tally this evening as we face Bristol Rovers. And Jabbo was raving about him on Saturday, his movement, his finishing. He's a real striker, isn't he? And you forget how young he is.
Yeah. Well, let me give you some numbers here, Ollie. 9, 6, 3. What do you reckon they stand for? I'll tell you, don't worry. He's had 9 shots, 6 have been on target, 3 have gone in this season. So you could look at that and go, well, he's only had 9 shots, but he hasn't had many minutes as well. 6 of them on target, it's pretty good, 66%, joint top in League One of most shots on target as percentage. 3 have gone in. That's numbers that any striker in the world will take. If three of your 9 shots go in, then you're laughing. So he's been very good when he's been given the opportunity. We'll see from the clips that he's a pure striker. This was, I don't know what, I'd be surprised if he's scored better goals. I know he said in his interview that it's in one of his top 1 or 2, because a lot of his goals are just pure striker's instinct, just getting it in and around the box, scoring from close range, just getting that striker's instinct and putting the ball in the net. These are goals that he scored for York on loan last season. Very, very tidy. Good, tidy finishes. Good, getting him past the last man and finishing well. So he's got the makings of a very bright striker in years to come, and hopefully we can see the fruits of that more this season.
I mean, he looks just like he will finish any chance that falls to him in the box, Joe. And for a 19-year-old as well, that's a really impressive attribute to have. Yeah,
definitely. And I'm just noticing here, he scored quite a lot with both feet. He looks like he's equally comfortable, shooting right foot, left foot. Some great finishes there. So, I think we need to see him starting a bit more, actually, on that evidence. But no, unbelievable finish on the weekend. He's still a very young man, learning his trade and, improving as a player. But he's certainly got some attributes, and hopefully that goal on the weekend will give him a lot of confidence, and we'll see more of him going forward.
Well, he's certainly staked his claim for a spot in the starting 11, and he's kept it tonight as we face Bristol Rovers. And let's take a look now at how the home side are lining up and how the Gashead are shaping up against Leyton Orient. So, in goal for Bristol Rovers, we have number 33, Matthew Cox. We have number 3, Lewis Gordon. Number 5, James Wilson. Number 8, Grant Ward. Number 11, Luke Thomas. 17, Connor Taylor. We have number 18, Chris Martin. 19, Harvey Vale. Number 20, Giovanni Brown. Number 21, Anthony Evans. 42, Jack Hunt. And on the bench for Bristol Rovers is Ward, Grant, Marquis, Collins, Woods, Bogard and Kramer. So that is how Bristol Rovers are lining up this evening, and a few changes for them as well. And they're in a bit of a period of uncertainty themselves under a caretaker manager. But they're a good side that we shouldn't take lightly. No,
not at all. They lost, I think, quite late on against Derby at the weekend. They're a squad full of very, very decent players. I mean, we mentioned Anthony Evans, who's been excellent so far this season. 5 goals, 4 assists from right midfield. Chris Martin up top with 4 goals. Aaron Collins on the bench this evening for them. He's been a real bright spark with 5 goals and 5 assists already this season. So, and then Giovanni Brown, who's a player who's probably very familiar to a lot of fans around the lower leagues. He's had a couple of very good games against us down the years too. So they're a team stacked with good quality, but they are only 13th in League One. They have a reasonable start to the season. Their form is a little bit patchy as well still. I think they're 13th in the form table in League One. So whilst our form has been in a bit of a rut, Bristol Rovers will be going into this game thinking similarly to us. We really need to get 3 points here to kind of kick-start the Christmas period, because they'll be looking for those points, of course.
Just to fact check you, they are 11th in
11th,
League
sorry,
One. 11th, but I'll forgive you, you've done some good research so far tonight, thank you.
Do you want me to go back to Shaqford's shots on target percentages as well?
Yeah, you can make me guess numbers again, but it's a tight section in League One. We're not too far from the drop zone, but we're not too far from the top, and a lot of those teams are in that predicament, and that's why these games are so important, isn't it? Almost unpredictable to a certain extent as well.
Yeah, it is like a really kind of congested part of the table, and as you said, a couple of wins, and you can really leapfrog a few teams, but at the same time, a couple of bad defeats or a couple of bad results, and you're kind of looking below your shoulder at what's kind of underneath in the table. So yeah, opportunities like this against teams in and around you really want to try and take points off them, as well as putting 3 more on or on your tally as well, because it just allows you to just kind of creep away from those places, those kind of relegation and areas that you don't want to get drawn into, especially in this league with 4 teams that go down. It's we want to be kind of looking upwards. I think it will be a tough game tonight. I remember the interim manager, Andy Mangan, as a player, and he was horrible to play against. Honestly, he was really tough. He was one of those players that would sort of do anything to win. I remember he was, like biting, and he'd get up to all sorts. So, yeah, I think if his team are anything like the way he used to play, then it'll be a tough game.
They've managed to go from Joey Barton to Andy Mangan. They've got a certain type, I think it's fair to say.
I was going to say the same thing. And you almost answered the question I was going to ask, Joe, but do you expect a side like that, the hangover from Joey Barton, and then if from what you remember Mangan as a player, do you expect it to be a physical, maybe slightly nasty game tonight?
I don't know about nasty, but I think like when you're playing at home, you really want to try and impose yourself and make it hard for the opposition in whatever way you can. Whether that's the fans being vocal, whether that's kind of really starting the game like a house on fire, especially on a cold Tuesday night. Orient have travelled a long way. Bristol Rovers are going to try and really come out the traps, come out firing, and the manager now and the previous manager, they had a certain way of wanting to be what they were about as players, and I'm sure they would probably like to instill that in their teams as well. So they'll make it hard for Orient, I'm sure, and I think Orient will be ready for that. And they have got goals in them as well, as you've already alluded to. But if you see some of them now, they've got goals in their side. As you said, Aaron Collins is on the bench, but as we'll see here, League One Player of the season last season, 16 goals for him. He's coming off the bench is a possibility, but our defence is going to have to be on it for the whole 90 minutes.
Massively,
tonight.
And then you also look at their starting 11. They've got Chris Martin up top, who's a man who he's doesn't really need much introduction in terms of how senior he is in the game, how much of a career he's had in the Championship. He's got 4 goals this season for Bristol Rovers, and he's kind of your archetypal handful as well. So Chris Martin up against Dan Happy, Ed Turns, Tom James this evening is going to be tricky, because they've got that's a wonderful goal, but they've got some real kind of physical presence that our defence is going to have to really work hard to deal with, because they're kind of a team that aren't shy up top, let's say.
They're certainly not. That is a key battle. You imagine Tom James will be the one they'd look to target, but you'd set up to your out-and-out centre-backs, Dan Happy and Ed Turns, to be strong, to do the bullying, you'd say, because they're not experienced professionals per se themselves. No, and they really are going to have to compete against Chris Martin, because he's a proper handful. He loves a physical battle, loves to tear up with a centre-back. It'll be no doubt elbows and all sorts going on, and he'll really want to try and throw his weight around. They're going to be lively in attacking areas. They're going to make it hard, and I'm sure put Orient under a lot of pressure defensively at times. So we'll have to be strong, have to stand up and be resilient and deal with that physical threat first and foremost. Yeah. Well, it's minutes until kick-off, so let's just remind ourselves one more time of how the O's are lining up as we prepare to face Bristol Rovers. And in goal for Leyton Orient is Sol Bryn. In the back 3 tonight, we have Tom James, Dan Happy and Ed Turns, with Rob Hunt and Theo Archibald in the wing-back positions. Where in the armband in midfield is Idris El Mazouni, and partnering him is Jordan Brown. And then the 3 in attack is Ruel Sotiriou, Shaq Ford and Aaron Drinan. And on the bench for the O's is Sam Howes, Jaden Sweeney, Dan Ajayi, Joe Piggott, Brandon Cooper, Darren Pratley and Max Sanders. So with that, in just 1 minute to go until kick-off, don't forget, of course, that tonight is available to stream internationally. So pick up your pass now, because we're going to hand over to watch the game very shortly and join our match coverage team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Good evening and welcome to the Memorial Ground. I was told as I arrived that the south stand away to our left would be open tonight, but it isn't, and the travelling faithful as a result have to stand on the open terrace just to our left, and they'll be looking for the O's to return to winning ways. The last victory, of course, came away from home, and that was at Carlisle United. Joey Bartner's